Sabalenka stunned. The Rome crowd exploding. A 20-year-old from the Philippines doing the impossible at the Italian Open 2026. Nobody in that stadium saw this coming. Nobody in the tennis world had this on their bingo card. A girl who lost her first-round match in Rome just 1 year ago bageled 0-6 by Marta Kostyuk, sent home before the tournament even got going. Came back to the Foro Italico in 2026 and started doing things that made the entire women's tour stop and stare. This is the story of Alex Eala's impossible run in Rome. A story about clay, about courage, and about what happens when a 20-year-old stops caring about what she's supposed to do and starts doing what nobody thought she could. Stay with us, because this one gets better with every single chapter. There is something deeply poetic about returning to a place that humiliated you. Last year, the 2025 Italian Open ended for Alex Eala before it really began. She walked onto the clay of the Foro Italico in Rome, faced Ukraine's Marta Kostyuk, and was dismantled. The scoreline 0-6-1-6 didn't just tell a story of defeat. It told a story of a young player who wasn't ready. Not for that stage, not yet. In the 2025 Italian Open, Eala lost to Kostyuk in the first round 0-6-1-6. Bageled in the first set, virtually bageled in the second. It was the kind of match that makes you wonder if the gap between a promising young player and the elite of the tour is simply too wide to cross. But here's the thing about Alex Eala. She didn't fold. She went home.
She trained.
She climbed. Slowly, match by match, tournament by tournament, she began to build herself into something different. By the time 2026 arrived, she had assembled a 16-11 win-loss record on the season and had cracked the top 42 in the world. She entered the Italian Open with a 16-11 win-loss record for the 2026 season, having earned $565,609 in prize money. That's not a girl making up the numbers. That is a player with intent. But the road back to Rome was littered with potholes. Her clay season in 2026 had been a story of almost. Early exits in Linz, a first-round loss in Stuttgart, a second-round defeat in Madrid. Ella had not advanced beyond the second round in Linz, Stuttgart, and Madrid. She was struggling to find her footing on the surface that she had named as a priority heading into Roland Garros. And yet, she came back to Rome anyway. She arrived in the capital with purpose. She said openly that she had been studying Rafael Nadal's game, the greatest clay court player of all time, looking for anything she could absorb, anything she could apply. Inspired by Rafael Nadal, Ella said, "Anything I can take from Rafa, I'll take with pride." Those words alone should have told you everything you needed to know. Because when a 20-year-old invokes the name of Rafael Nadal on clay, not as idol worship, but as tactical homework, you're looking at a player who is not here to participate. She is here to compete. And the draw she received, it was a nightmare. Not a soft bracket, not an act of kindness from the tournament gods. The draw handed Ella a brutal potential path. Unseeded, required to play from the first round, with the possibility of facing world number 2, Aryna Rybakina, as early as the round 32. The experts looked at it and said, she probably won't get through. Rome had other plans. You want to know when this story really started? Not when Eala stepped on a plane to Rome. Not when the draw came out. The moment this story began was on Wednesday, May 6, 2026, on the Nikola Pietrangeli Stadium against Magdalena Frek of Poland. Eala defeated Frek 6-0, 3-6, 6-4 at the Nikola Pietrangeli Stadium. That scoreline needs to be understood properly because it isn't a comfortable linear story. It is a match that swung violently and one that showed exactly what Eala is made of. She opened like a freight train. The first set was a statement, 6-0, a bagel. The same scoreline that Kostyuk handed her in Rome a year ago, except this time Eala was on the other side of it. After storming to a first-set bagel, Eala had to go the distance and emerged victorious in the decider, prevailing 6-0, 3-6, 6-4. But Frek didn't roll over in the second set. She settled, found her rhythm, and took the set. Suddenly, this was a deciding set match. Suddenly, the pressure was on, and that is the exact moment when most young players, under the weight of expectation under the Roman sun, in front of a crowd that was very much starting to pay attention. That is when most young players blink. Eala didn't blink. She broke Freck to win the third set and close out the match. She converted 6 break points, including on the final service of the match from Freck. 6 snorts break points. In the most important moments of the match, when she needed to put her foot on the throat of the moment, she did it 6 times. Afterwards, she spoke about the emotional weight of the match. "I'm really proud of myself," she said, because there were so many moments, especially in the third set, where she could have gone really far. This was a test. Eala unleashed vengeance to the fullest on Wang, who had denied her a finals appearance in the WTA 250 ASB Classic in Auckland. There was history here. There was edge, and it showed in the way Eala played. The match started badly for her. Wang, the higher-ranked player who had received a first-round bye, came out firing. Eala trailed 0-3 early on against the world number 33 Chinese player. Down a break immediately, down 2 breaks before she had found her footing. The momentum was completely in Wang's court. This is the part of the story that matters, not the comfortable wins, not the matches where everything clicks from the first point. The part that reveals character is the moment you are down 0-3 against a player who already has your number in a tournament where one loss means going home. What did Eala do? She stepped on the gas. The Filipina stepped on the gas and did not let up, winning the next 4 games to grab the lead 4-3. 4 straight games. She didn't panic. She didn't change her game plan. She just tightened everything. The serves, the baseline rallies, the mental intensity, and she started winning points she had no business winning. Eala battled back from a 15-40 deficit in the final game to complete the big win over Wang. Down match point on her opponent's serve, facing the real possibility that this run ends here in the second round, just like Madrid, and she saved it. She saved the match point, and then she closed it out. Final score, 6-4, 6-3. Straight sets in 86 minutes against a player ranked 11 spots above her in the world. By reaching the third round, Eala was guaranteed a purse of $53,894. But the money was never the point. The point was what she had done. She had reached the third round of a WTA clay court tournament for the first time in her career. Not qualifying, main draw, third round. Eala advanced to the third round of the main draw of a WTA Tour clay event for the first time in her career. In 1 week, the girl who couldn't survive the first round of Rome in 2025 had beaten 2 opponents and made history. And the next name on the draw? World number 2, Aryna Sabalenka, Australian Open champion, one of the biggest servers in the women's game. The crowd in Rome started to lean in. There are moments in sports that live beyond the scoreline. Moments where you stop watching the match and start watching history. Alex Eala versus Aryna Sabalenka in the round of 32 at the 2026 Italian Open was supposed to be a formality. Sabalenka, a 2-time Grand Slam champion, including the 2026 Australian Open and the 2022 Wimbledon Championships, had already dismantled Maria Sakkari 6-4, 6-1 on her way to this match. She was playing with the authority and fluency of someone in form, someone who had been here before, someone who does not lose to players ranked 40 places below her in the world. The odds were overwhelming. The narrative was written before the first ball was struck. Sabalenka would win in straight sets. Eala would collect the experience, and Rome would move on. But Eala had been writing her own narrative all week. She walked onto that court, and she didn't play like a wild card. She played like someone who had studied this moment, prepared for this moment, decided that this moment was going to be different from every other time she had faced an opponent of this magnitude. The Foro Italico crowd, those passionate, electric, emotionally invested Roman tennis fans, they felt it. From the first game, they felt that something different was happening. This wasn't a young player clinging on. This was a young player competing. There is a profound difference between the two, and the crowd could see it in every rally, every hold of serve, every time Eala stepped inside the baseline and accelerated through the ball. Sabalenka was watching. The entire top of the draw was watching when an unseeded 20-year-old starts putting pressure on the world number 2, you notice. The tour notices because if she can do this to Sabalenka, then what does that mean for everyone else in this bracket? Think about what this run represented. The Italian Open would serve as Eala's preparation for the French Open in Paris. This wasn't a tournament she was playing casually. This was the proving ground before Roland Garros, and she was proving things that nobody had expected her to prove this early in this tournament on this stage. The crowd exploded. The kind of explosion that happens when an underdog doesn't just compete, but truly threatens. The kind that makes you put down your phone and just watch. You could feel it. The electricity of a moment that might be becoming something historic. The entire stadium was alive, and somewhere in the draw, Aryna Sabalenka, the world #1, the tournament's top seed, the player who was supposed to breeze through this section of the bracket, was now watching this 20-year-old Filipina with new eyes because every round Eala wins brings her closer. You are watching the rise of someone the tennis world didn't fully believe in. And the best part? She's just getting started. Don't go anywhere. Alex Eala came to Rome carrying the weight of a bad year on clay, a brutal draw, and the memory of being bageled on this very court 12 months ago. She left the early rounds as the most exciting story at the 2026 Italian Open. Calm, composed, dangerous, and impossible to ignore. This is not just a good run. This is the moment when the conversation around Alex Eala changes permanently. When people stop saying she has potential and start saying she is here, Rome has spoken. And she is far from done. If this story gave you chills, hit that subscribe button right now. We cover every comeback, every upset, every historic moment in women's tennis before anyone else does. You don't want to miss what happens next in Rome. Subscribe and we'll see you in the next one.